Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisrael. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu protect our brave soldiers and grant them victory and strength. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Yehudit Bat Shimon, Baruch Chaim ben Mordechai, Edward ben Ephraim, Shlomo ben Edward, and Yerachmiel Daniel ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of the Refuah Shalema of Shaul ben Edward and Reuven ben Rachalea. May they have a complete and speedy recovery. This week is a double Torah portion, Parshas Chukas and Balak, hidden by design. Our Parshas begin with HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaching Moshe Rabbeinu the intricate laws of the Parah Aduma. The Parah Aduma was a completely red cow that had never been used for labor. And after being slaughtered and burned, its ashes were used to purify a person who has contracted tumas mes, the ritual impurity associated with coming in contact with a human corpse. A person who became impure through contact with the deceased was required to undergo a 7-day purification process, and on the 3rd and the 7th day they were sprinkled with water mixed with the ashes of the Parah Aduma. And through this process they were restored to a state of ritual purity of Tahar once again. Our next Parsha shifts the story to Balak, the king of Moav. After witnessing the Jewish people's victories over the mighty nations of Emor and Bashan, Balak feared that his kingdom would be next. Seeking a supernatural advantage, he turns to Bilam, the famous non-Jewish prophet, and told him to curse the Jewish nation for him. When Bilam received this request, God appeared to him and warned him that he could not curse the Jewish people, for they are blessed. Bilam initially refuses Balak's offer. However, when Balak sends a second delegation with the promises of great wealth and honor, God permits Bilam to go, provided that he only speak the word that God places in his mouth. As Bilam was traveling to Moav, God placed an angel carrying a sword in his path. Bilam's donkey saw the angel and refused to continue. Unable to see the angel himself, Bilam hits the donkey several times. The Parsha relates that the donkey then spoke, asking Bilam why he struck her. And at that moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens Bilam's eyes and allows him to see the angel standing before him. The Malach, the angel of Hashem, instructs him to continue on his journey, but reminds him that he can only say what God had commanded. Upon arriving in Moav, Bilam instructs Balak to build 7 altars and offer sacrifices. Yet each time Bilam attempts to curse the Jewish nation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu places words of bracha, words of blessing, in his mouth instead. Balak moves Bilam to a different location and repeats the process again and again, hoping for a different outcome. Nevertheless, every attempt only produces brachas, only produces blessings. Finally, realizing that his plan has failed, Balak abandoned his effort and sent Bilam on his way. Before I go into the question and the rest of the podcast and episode, I want to just make note that I have spoken about this whole storyline and the other Parsha, Parshas Chukas, in detail in the previous 8 episodes on these Torah portions. However, a question comes to mind. As the Jewish people traveled through the valley of Arnon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu performed one of the most extraordinary miracles in the Torah. An entire enemy army was destroyed before they could attack, saving the Jewish people from certain death. Yet the Jewish nation continues traveling on their journey, completely unaware that anything had happened. Only afterwards did they discover the miracle through the well. It was filled with the bodies of the dead soldiers. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu was already performing such a tremendous, such a crazy miracle, then why did he conceal it from them? Why did the Jewish people not witness their own salvation and sing praise to God for that? Rashi, Rav Shlomo Yitzchaki, the leading Torah commentary, gives a simple explanation. And he writes that the Jewish people did not witness the miracle because God already removed the danger before they ever reached it. As they approached the valley of Arnon, the Emori hid in the mountains, waiting to launch an ambush. Before the Jewish people entered the valley of Arnon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu caused the mountains to move together, crushing the enemies where they stood. The Jewish people then continued on their journey completely unaware that their lives had just been saved. Only after did the miraculous well, reveal what had taken place, bringing the remains of the defeated soldiers before the camp of the Jewish nation. And at that moment, the Jewish people realized that HaKadosh Baruch Hu protected them from a danger they never even knew existed. And only then did they burst into shira, into song and praise, thanking Hashem for the hidden miracle that He just did on their behalf. However, the Ramban, Rav Moshe ben Nachman, known as Nachmanides, gives us a deeper and more profound explanation. At the end of Parshas Chukas in Sefer Shemais, he teaches us a core principle around miracles. He writes that the purpose of the Torah's open miracles is to teach us to recognize the hidden miracles that are with us every day. He famously writes, from the great and publicized miracles, a person comes to acknowledge the hidden miracles in their everyday life. Accordingly, the Jewish people believed that they were simply traveling through another valley in the desert. They never saw the enemy, they never witnessed the mountains move together to crush the enemy, and they continued on their journey as if nothing unusual happened. Only afterwards they discover that HaKadosh Baruch Hu already saved them. And this changes the way we understand the miracle of the Valley of Arnon. The miracle was not only that the Amori army was destroyed, the miracle was that HaKadosh Baruch Hu protected the Jewish nation before they even knew they needed protection. Their salvation had already taken place long before they realized that they had been in danger. The Ramban teaches us that this is often how HaKadosh Baruch Hu conducts the world. We obviously and naturally thank Him for the miracles that we recognize, for the blessings we receive, yet many of His greatest acts of kindness remain hidden from us. These are dangers we never encounter, and obstacles that are removed from our path, and the countless moments of divine protection that we never even knew existed. But sometimes, in fact many times, the greatest miracles are the ones we never witness, but the ones that God performs for us without us even knowing. And therefore we thank Him, and therefore we bow, and therefore we recognize His sovereignty over our life, over our world, and as our Father in heaven. And this is such a profound lesson, and is so relevant in a world today, where we often measure our lives by what we can immediately see and understand. We celebrate the opportunities that work out, the prayers that were answered, and the blessings that are visible. Yet we rarely stop to consider the many acts of kindness and protection that unfold beyond our awareness. The Torah is reminding us that not every nace, not every miracle announces itself. Sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects us through a closed door, through a delayed plan, through a path that we never ended up taking. And we may never know what He spared us from or what He quietly arranged on our behalf. Nevertheless, His presence is no less real, His presence is no less great, and His sovereignty is one. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that we do not need to understand everything to move forward with confidence. There are moments in life where it does not make sense, and plans will change, and opportunities will disappear, and unexpected challenges will arise. Yet not every unanswered question is a sign that something's wrong. Often it is only by looking back that we begin to understand the journey itself. When we realize that the certain setbacks protected us, the closed doors redirected us, and the unexpected turns led us somewhere even better. And therefore, by trusting Hashem, and trust that He is guiding our lives, giving us the confidence to move forward, allowing us to achieve far beyond what we once thought possible. There's a profound quote that I once read from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs. Faith is the courage to live with uncertainty. Have a great weekend and a good Shabbos.
Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.